I think the motion,
I serve at the pleasure of the board. It's an at-will position.
if I may, Chair,
Yes.
if I may, or interrupt, or interject, I should say, is the motion that's on the table and it's been seconded that we're discussing is a no vote in confidence. And I don't know how your meetings went. I mean, I've got information from my meeting with the auditors, and unfortunately, you know, the information that I see, I have trouble as a board member to allow someone to continue in the capacity until, you know, it just, I think I've seen enough information here that concerns me on that.
No, yeah, they presented.
Your
some
question of
things
what
that
her
concern me.
recourse and things can be is, that's not what we're deciding. We're deciding as a board, is there confidence in her ability to continue to lead this authority and oversee these monies with confidence? And right now, that's what we're discussing. As far as the recourse or steps that she's gonna take outside of that, and whatever our decision is as a board, well, that would be up to her and handling it through Hannah. But I have to say, based on what I've learned, that, you know, regarding hours and things that were billed, it's hard for me to understand that many hours. I know that she's a hard worker. I'm not questioning that. She's a hard worker. She's always worked hard. But to go that consecutive long for 4 to 6 weeks and not eat, in 18, 16, 12-hour days, it's not reflected. I have some trouble with that. I'm not saying that she's not a hard worker, attacking her character of any means, but, you know, and that's not detail that I don't know if any of us have been privy to, but in looking at it, I can understand the concerns that were raised. And so, you know, there's,
Okay,
we're talking about the issue right now of
Okay,
confidence.
well, I'll address that. We all, according to the auditors, got the same thing. They all wanted us to have the same information, right? Based on what they told me and the hours, does it sound like she worked more hours, or says she works more hours than she did? Possibly. But what if we're wrong? I mean, I don't know how many times
Well,
I spoke to her
I
that
guess-
she was
I
here,
guess my-
and she has someone
Let me
to back
rephrase it
up.
this way. I'm not doubting that she didn't work the hours. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt of working the hours. I think it was, if that's the case, it's seriously poor judgment to bill that many hours at that kind of rate that she was approved back in June. It just, if you're having to work that hard, we need to either hire somebody else on or break it out. I just think that's the representation of spending the tax money, looking at that.
Well, let me just, I mean, I hear all these things, and if we hired another person, would we have paid the same amount of money out if we had 2 people doing the same thing that one person did? I mean, logically, the presentation that we all got were what the auditors saw as red flags. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if they're allegations. I know all the articles that have been in the paper have been about character and perception. Nothing has been factual. If you recall, when we first started, this was a beehive. I mean, there were a series of things that were crazy. You weren't here at the time,
No.
but you had been here before. So I think you understood what we were going through. And there are 3, 4, 5 employees or people that corroborate the hours that she did. The rate of pay was provided to us by the county. The method of pay was provided to us. We didn't make these numbers up. We didn't make any of this stuff up. And we were told to pay her as an independent contractor. We submitted those hours to our accounting firm. The accounting firm returned that to us. Said, you can't pay her as an independent contractor. She has to be paid as an hourly employee. So when the hours were sent back in as an hour employee, the thought process was, over 40 hours, you're paid time and a half. That's why the number ballooned. I mean, if you looked at the form that the accountant had, I think it was like $22,000 or $23,000 that was submitted. It ended up being 40 with all the convolution that went through. We were all a very new board coming on here. We relied a lot on what the county was telling us. And I know she was involved with the county on a daily basis. She called, I think she called your office, she called several places to get reinforcement or to get direction. She couldn't get it from us, we were brand new also, okay? And we had, if you recall, we were getting tired of having meetings because we had 10 or 12 of them, okay? So all of those things that went on were there. And, you know, I spoke with the auditors again yesterday, and everybody says the same thing. 20/20 vision, hindsight is always 20/20 vision. And it's true. But while we were doing this, we didn't have that same perception. You know, we knew how many hours she was working because all these people were talking about it, and we were talking about it at the same time. So it wasn't a fact that the hours were not correct. Those were hours. I mean, they are what they are.
Well,